we go. Get ready to have a good time. This is exciting, isn't it?
All right, we're on. Hello, testing.
Welcome aboard the Dreamliner.
It's the only way to fly.
Listen, we need something that will play to your strengths of loving the sound of your own voice and talking forever. Podcasts.
Podcaster Garry Meier?
Garry.
Here's a young speaker who is really in demand.
Don't let that go to your head, Garry.
But wait, there's more.
That's what I'm talking about.
He's Garry Meier.
Okay, GarrForce, it's the Friday, October 15th, 2021 edition of the Garry Meier Show, Cocktail Hour Live.
Cocktails, woo, drinks.
Our frequent contributor, Todd Pickering, celebrated a birthday this week, so cheers to him with a quick best-of clip.
I'm Todd Pickering with your GarrForce News Update at 6. 5 Central, 4 Mountain, 3 Pacific.
You can see all of our past shows on the GarrForce Live YouTube channel. That's also the best way to stream along with the Garry Meier Show Cocktail Hour Live each week. Please take a moment now to click subscribe on YouTube. It's free. You can also get the word out on your favorite social media channels. And actually, those things are so important to us that we're going to give you that extra moment right now, accompanied by a brief homage to Chicago that I wrote quite a few years ago, but still very much in keeping with this week's show.
We know you can take care of each other, so we'll do it for you, dear sister and brother.
And now, fellow Chicagoans, have no fear.
Your Chicago City Council aldermen are here. Chicago is your name. Chicago is your name.
We're benefits, vets, and restaurants, and smoking at the bar.
We're still trying to make big bucks. Retailers pay wages above par.
Implanting microchips and pets while nothing goes too far.
We needed your own nanny. Dear Chicagoans, here we are.
Of course, no matter where you are, it's time for a digital mimosa. Garry podcasts 5 days a week. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday podcasts are complimentary. Tuesday and Thursday podcasts are available to premium subscribers. Check out GarryMeyer.com for more, or download his app in the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. Comments are welcome on all of our live streaming channels, and yes, that includes Twitch. You can also text us at 773-888-2157. Regular charges may apply. Now, fasten your seatbelts, it's time to go wheels up on the GarrForce Live.
Fellow Chicagoans, have no fear. Your Chicago City Council aldermen are
I didn't know you were in a song and dance troupe, Alan. That's nice.
I'm actually not singing. I wrote the lyrics.
Wow, I could almost make them out. You'll have to put them on the screen at some point. Hey, welcome everybody to the GarrForce Cocktail Show. And here's how we do this. I kick the tires, I light the fires, and we are wheels up. We're clean. I'm hoping for a goo-free flight. And my special guest today will be the co-creators of the animated series Chicago Party Ant. Katie Rich and John Barinholtz will be here in just a few minutes to talk about that. But let me take a look through the screen door and see who has checked in. I got to say that Stephen, I believe that's Stephen from Palos Park, Illinois, he seems to be angry. He said, I would be super rich if I had $100 every single time I heard the "we need something to play to your strengths" piece. And then he's talking about Leslie doing fake news. I mean, Stephen, relax. That's why we do this show, because we've had a mostly bad week, some of us, and we're all uptight and we need to relax and have a cocktail. So have a cocktail. Juan, Doug, and Linda, and Cindy, Fred from Michigan, Brian, Johnny from Michigan has checked in, Martin from British Columbia. And did I say Donna? Did I say Mary Jo? Lloydster. Hello, Lloydster. I believe, who gave us the clearance for takeoff out there? Somebody did. Well, we're up. We're good. All right. It's all good. Well, let's do the official start. And that is when Leslie removes the wine condom. Hello, Leslie.
Hey, Garrett, feeling Sierra Hotel about today's show. Yeah.
There it is. There.
So here it goes.
Here it goes.
Ready?
Oh.
Oh!
Boom goes the
One
dynamite.
almost hit the camera.
Mm-hmm. That's what she said. What are you drinking?
I got me a Chloe Chardonnay today. A
Oh,
nice little bow
she's my
on
favorite Kardashian. I'm having a Manhattan again.
Chloe doesn't look like Chloe anymore.
No. Yeah, that's our main concern. Dieter Sturm, he's checked in on the comment section, and he will be our guest next Friday. Dieter is an Academy Award winner for special effects. He makes the best snow in the business. And Dieter is going to get us into Oktoberfest. He has a song or two he's going to play, and we like visiting with Dieter. That is on next Friday's show. First of all, we have to acknowledge Keely Ann. She has sent a couple of pictures. Ellen, if you could put them up on the screen. She wants her Schnauzer to high-five us. Give me a 5. There's her Schnauzer. And then she sent this. It's a Schnauzer kissing booth. And you can see that the tongue is extra. That's nice.
I figured the tongue would just be a given.
Well, you think that's part of the set, but it's not. It's extra.
Wow.
Okay. So thank you, Keely Ann. She really starts the show off every week with something nice. And you can text in. Love hearing from you.
We're going to have a giveaway.
We are going to have a giveaway. Yes. What will we be giving away this week?
We've got another, this time even in a wrapper. It's a GarrForce scarf. Oops, there we go.
Upside down, yeah.
GarrForce scarf. And, of course, a wine condom.
Well, that's a nice
everybody should have a wine
package, yes. And we'll tell you how to do that. I guess we queue people up right now. Alan, is that what you want to do?
Sure, we can queue people up right now. And let's do it for our guests today. For their sake, we'll put their hashtag in as the entry. All right. let me start typing here since it takes me a moment to get that on the screen.
Okay, and
Chicago party. And
all right,
and we'll put that up on the screen. There we go.
That's what you put in the comment section. And then the computer later on will randomly pick somebody and you'll get the scarf and the wine condom. How does that sound? That sounds pretty good.
I think the best part of the giveaway is when Garry does the sound effects too.
Well, I do sound effects. I don't like to brag.
It's
but
coming.
Hey, if you're sober curious, please put that on the shelf tomorrow. You can worry about that today. We drink. This is what we do. We reward ourselves for getting to this day every week because, hey, we deserve it. If we don't do it, who's going to do it? If we don't toot our own horn, who's going to toot us? Cheers, everybody.
And a good toot is always fun on a Friday.
Exactamundo. All right, and all size schnauzers are welcome. What are the sizes?
That would be teacup, miniature, standard. Toy.
Shit.
Toy. I always screw up with
One
the toy
more.
and then giant.
Giant. And I want to thank Wisconsin reporter Ryan. This is my portable schnauzer. Yeah, thank you, Ryan. We'll talk to Ryan later. He's going to do a Wisconsin report and talk about something they bought for their son, Hank. And it's kind of a funny little thing. And we had done a story about what that will tie into. And then it was just a vortex. And we'll explain it all a little later as we yah-hey with Ryan. Okay.
That kid is living the life. Oh my God.
Hank,
wait till you see.
Hank is their kid. He gets everything he wants. I want to come back as their kid. I really do.
All we need to have happen is Mrs. Ryan selling off that diamond, and we're all good forever, right?
The diamond from the Titanic that she has around her neck there. And that's the dress, too. That's a replica dress. And producer Keith has made a replica of the Titanic. He made it from scratch, not a kit. And it's pretty amazing. And there it is. And I think, Keith, if you want, Ryan would buy that. They seem to be spending some money. You should get a hold of him.
As a present for Hank, perhaps.
Yes,
we'll see.
for Christmas, under the tree. Are you kidding me? Are the guests here, Ellen?
Everyone is in place. We're ready to go when you are, Garry. You want to start with a clip before you even bring them on?
Okay, let's do that. Yeah, if you haven't seen this show, Chicago Party Ant on Netflix, we're going to show a couple clips. Let's start with this one and give you a flavor.
Yesterday was our anniversary.
No doy. That's why I got you Al's beef.
You ate it all.
There's a couple of fries in the bag.
I don't want bag fries. I want my wife to remember the anniversary of the second time we got married. Be zen. Phil Jackson. Phil Jackson. Diane, I'm getting too old to live like this. Based on my family history and cholesterol level, I'm gonna die 5 years ago.
Come on, Kurt. We do this all the time.
There's a little taste of Chicago Party Ant, and the co-creators are joining me now. Katie Rich and John Barinholtz on the program. Welcome.
Hey.
Oh, Johnny, you wore your smoking jacket.
I told you I was going to get fancy.
Wow, look at this.
Well, I put a bra on, so that's the equivalent of a smoking
I
jacket.
did two. I did three.
Yay!
Okay, we're all good. Hey, this started, Chicago Party Ant started at, oh, let's find out what you're drinking. You're doing a seltzer?
You have to have a White Claw in honor of Diane.
Oh, sure. Okay. And John, you are?
I'm drinking Diane's favorite drink. It's called Anything at All. This is this is a Brooklyn, which is of course a Manhattan, but with dry vermouth and some cherry liqueur. And the bourbon is a Chicago bourbon called Koval.
Wow. Thank you for joining in on the spirit
Thank
of
you
this.
for not drinking Malort. I've seen the Malort references, but
I can't do it. I have a kid. I have to be around. I can't.
Okay.
Can't do it.
I disagree. Malort isn't that bad. It's not. It's no worse than anything you've. It's fine.
Okay.
Anything you've had out of like a gas tank,
dumpster, or a gas station. I mean,
yeah, exactly. Okay.
Have you ever done a shot of Jaeger? It's no worse than Jaeger.
Jaeger. Oh, I'll never forget my first Jaeger shot. Wow, what a night. What a week that was.
What a week that was one night.
Yes. Okay, this started, Chicago Party Ant started as a Twitter feed and then became this series on Netflix. Give us some history here. When did it start as the Twitter feed? How many years ago?
Oh, wow.
4? No, more than that.
More than that. 2014, I want to say. 2014 or 15.
And it's running for how long before you get this call? Who's the idea guy for the whole concept?
I think you know him.
Yeah, I think you're friends with the gentleman. The guy who kind of put this all to the account existed. Chris Wataski had this account.
Okay, that guy, he's the one that was posting. Chris.
Yes, he was doing the account, and Richie Schwartz was the one who, saw this account. A bunch of Chicago people were fans of this account, were interacting with it, and Richie Schwartz saw it, and Chris ran the account anonymously, and Richie saw it and saw that other Chicago people that he knew, like my brother Ike Barinholtz, Ike's partner Dave Stassen, Katie, some other folks were interacting with this fictional character on Twitter. So Richie went to Ike and Dave to kind of find out, hey, you're interacting with this person. Who is it? And they were like, okay, it's Chris. And that kind of set everything in motion of, Richie's like Samuel L. Jackson in the Avengers. He's assembling the team. And
he only has one eye.
He only has one eye. And Thanos killed him.
Thanos is a dog in the neighborhood.
No, but Richie kind of like put the team together. He brought the Ike and Dave component to produce. So Richie and Olive Bridge, his company, was one side of producers. Ike and Dave at 2334 Productions was another side. They were like, hey, we should do this as an animation project. And to write it, Chris and I were we had like a 2-man show, and we were kind of like performing partners. And the idea was like, oh, well, John and Chris can write on this. And then it made total sense to bring Katie Rich in, who, I mean, I don't know, 9 out of 10 people who asked me the account, Katie, I don't know if this is your experience, but thought it was Katie.
Everyone thought it was me.
Why would they think that? Why would that go back to you necessarily?
I think that's kind of how I talk. Maybe I mean, I'm such a Chicago person, and I just think they assumed like, well, if it's they assumed it was a woman, and they were like, well, if any dumb broad from Chicago is doing this, it's got to be Katie.
That's nice to be thought of that way.
I'm just glad I'm being thought of. I don't care what you think.
So Richie Schwartz, who you mentioned, he has this company that produces shows. Richie
Yes.
and I are very good friends. And I just wonder about the call to Chris, where you get this call, hey, I have this production company. I want to talk about making this an animated series. And Chris looking at who is this? Uncle Leo? I mean, that kind of sequence in my head is how that works. Because was there a fantasy from Chris that this would be something beyond a Twitter feed?
I think so. I know him and I had talked about it for not too far before Richie approaching Chris. Like Chris had mentioned, like he was trying to do something with it, and I remember having conversations with him of like various ways that I could go. And Richie came in when Richie contacted him. I think I wasn't there for that conversation, but I'm pretty sure Richie right away was like, "Oh, animation," and then from there, it just made sense. Like, oh yeah, this is an animated series, and we can go everywhere we want to with this character who's larger than life. And
yeah. So it's obviously Aunt Diane. Aunt is Aunt Diane. And watching it, I'm thinking, I'll bet almost every family has an aunt in the family who either never married and is always out there having fun, or perceived as having fun, or married, as in Aunt Diane's case, is divorced.
Yes.
And now on the party circuit.
And in many families, it's an uncle.
Or an uncle.
It could be an uncle or a friend or that neighbor who's there at every holiday event. Like there's someone in everyone's life.
And that could be a spinoff, Denver Party Uncle. You could
I mean, we have people like say that kind of stuff where they're like, oh my God, I have a Pittsburgh party aunt, or I have a Orange County party aunt. Somebody just said to me. And I always say, like, if you don't know who it is, it might be you.
Yeah.
I think it's me. I think it's me and my sister, actually, in my family.
Oh, the cool Aunt Katie there. The woman I'm thinking of in my family was my Aunt Helen. She lived on the north side of Chicago. She lived 2 blocks from the Playboy Mansion. So as a 12-year-old, I'd go down and stay with her, and I'd walk over to the Playboy Mansion and stand by the gate there and look in and think, I know what's going on, at least in my head. I think I know what's going on in there right now. Swing.
Yeah.
That whole...
You always had to go to the hospital. You had that fainting problem.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, that essence of Chicago that I grew up with, as far as the Playboy Mansion being there, was the coolest damn thing on earth. Yeah. And then my aunt moved to New York, and she worked for TV shows, and she wasn't partying like Aunt Diane, but she was the cool aunt. She had all these cool jobs. And then when she was living in Chicago and she'd come out to visit us in the suburbs, she'd bring a box of Frango mints from Marshall Field. This was a big department store in Chicago, and they had their own mints. The women made the mints in the store, and they were like gold if you could get them. And she would bring a box out. I thought, oh, this is heaven. This is so cool. So that's what it reminded me of, and that's the warm fuzzy I got. Although Aunt Diane, in this case, has some salty language, and she is on the prowl all the time with this nephew of hers, who I know it's a cartoon, so to speak, but the nephew looks like he's all of about 12. And when I saw the episode where she took him to the queer Halloween bar, on Halloween, the queer bar for Halloween, I thought the kid looks like he's 12. How old is the kid in the series?
18.
18.
18. Okay.
In the pilot, he just turns 18.
Okay.
And she's like, oh, he can legally drink. Like, she forgets that that's not the drinking age anymore.
Right. But he looks to be 12 in the series, which makes it even naughtier and crazier when you watch it. The episode I watched recently was when Andy Richter gave him a pot brownie.
Sure.
Okay.
Which has happened to all of us. That's happened to all of us.
Really.
You write what you know, Gar.
Andy Richter is all pot brownies.
So that leads me to this question. You have you two and how many other writers are involved in this?
Total 9.
Okay, and you're all from Chicago?
No.
Okay, you two are from Chicago. So what I'm asking is, you throw all of your Chicago-ness in the pile and then start pulling them out. What about the people that aren't from Chicago? What are they thinking when you start to throw these things out there? Is this true? Are you making this up?
It was critical to have that because it kind of reined us in, right? It kept us from going overboard with too much Chicago stuff, and it also gave us, kind of a frame of reference. Like one thing that I thought was so crazy was we asked like a couple of our writers were not only not from Chicago, but also not sports fans. And I remember being like, so if you had to figure out like, who's the Bear that you know, the Chicago Bear that you would know the best? And they all said Jay Cutler.
Yeah. Because of
the reality show.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. Because
I was like, so you don't know who Jim McMahon is.
Right. Well, come on. Really, you got to go with the demographics here. The Super Bowl Bears, that's 35 years ago.
Yeah.
There's a generation, almost 2 generations that did not grow up with that.
Right.
And now that's when you feel, and you are a lot younger than I am. So, but you still must feel like, how old am I when you hear that? What's your favorite Bear? Jay Cutler. And you're thinking, what?
Well, not only from an age perspective, but also because they were not sports fans. And he's the one who broke through into the non-sports world was so crazy.
Yeah.
That people knew who he was.
Yeah, boy, when those things happen, I always think, how old am I? I had that moment a number of years ago when my wife's niece was in the room. She was maybe in her 20s at the time, and the names Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis came up, and she said, who are they? And then here's the other one. My daughter got a turntable recently, and I said, oh, great, I'll bring some of my 45s out of storage. And she said, what's a 45? Ouch. Ouch, ouch, ouch. But it happens. What are you going to do? This is going to happen to everybody. If you're 15 right now, this is going to happen to you at some point.
Oh, no. Yeah, I'm already, I always wonder, like, what's that technology going to be where I'm like, I can't do it. I'm out. And I'll feel just like.
Well, I'm already there. And John would have no qualms about busting me. In fact, we were in the room one time. We were in the writer's room one time, and we were supposed to get Spotify for something. Like our music supervisor was like, here's the songs I'm thinking of. It's on the Spotify playlist. And I was like, oh, I don't have Spotify. And it was right when they acquired Joe Rogan, right?
Yeah.
Or something like that. And they were like, oh, is it because of Joe Rogan? Like, are you against it? And I was like, yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
And John goes, she's lying. She can't figure it out. She doesn't know. And I was like, fuck. Yeah, you're right. Like I can't figure it out.
You need it. Yeah, you need an out to make yourself look like you're somewhat in the 21st century.
Also to make myself look so cool and morally cool that I was like, oh, I don't deal with this technology because of my moral issues. And really, it was like, I don't get it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, some of us grew up with just the remote control for the TV, and we had to go from there. So give us a little wiggle room. Okay, so some of the episodes deal with other Chicago touchstones. Of course, you mentioned the Bears. Yeah. Ace weatherman Tom Skilling is featured, but not his voice. Did you have to ask for permission to have, say, a Tom Skilling involved in this?
It was interesting. Well, Skilling interacted with the account a lot, so I think we did get sign off. He was a big fan of the account, and I think he was on board with everything. It was pretty interesting. Where, like, I think. I don't know if I should say all this, but I think I can. Legal cleared everything for the first half of the episodes, essentially, and then when we went to lockdown, all of a sudden, we were getting flagged for things, and we kind of assumed oh, wait a second, were they just not paying attention to things before, but now that we're all home and stuck at home, they're being extra
diligent about.
Yeah, there's more scrutiny over it because we had all this stuff, and we thought we were covered under parody and all this other stuff, and and everything got cleared, and then all of a sudden, starting episode 7 or 8, it started being
no,
yeah, and weird stuff. No,
give us an example of what would be flagged.
For example, go ahead. You were going to say the same thing.
Well, I know the Super Bowl Shuffle got flagged. Yeah. But it got flagged at one stage earlier on. You can't do the exact Super Bowl Shuffle, but you can do a sound alike, and great. But then it got then that went from that to you have to totally make up a verse. You have to so we made up the kicker verse. And the other thing was in the marathon episode, it's Seth Rogen narrating that book on tape. We wanted Seth, and we were like, oh, we probably we don't know if he's going to be available or be able to do it in time. In the meantime, we just floated some other ideas out of like Jeff Goldblum, like, but an impersonation, like even impersonations of people. They said, no, you can't do that. You have to either get the person or like make up a totally new figure. And it was just like, it was pretty crazy.
Yeah, well,
because coming from SNL, I was like, I didn't understand that at all. I was like, why, like we were almost penalized because the person doing the voice was too good. Like they were like, you can't have someone, because in animation, it could technically, you could think it was him because it's not like, I guess on SNL, it's not them. It's a person in a.
But for the guy who we got to do Jeff Goldblum, this amazingly talented voice actor named Piat Michael, he did a Jeff Goldblum that was so spot on that Netflix came back and they said, it's too close to Jeff Goldblum. So our correction was, well, what if we say, as read by a Jeff Gold, like, because Bonnie looks at it on her iPod and sees that it's a book on tape. And we said, as read by a Jeff Goldblum impersonator. Like, even if we had that on the screen, they're just like, no, it's too close.
Yeah, we stopped playing videos on this program months ago because we'd play something thinking, no, it's on the internet, it's free to do. And then the show would get yanked right after we posted it. And we can't do that. We had to get permission to run the clips from Chicago Party Ant. Otherwise, they would have flagged this show, just playing your clips.
I won't do any impersonations during this in case they pull it. Like I'm amazing in impersonations, so is Katie, but we'll hold off doing it just so they don't pull the show.
We're actually like almost too good at impersonation.
Yeah, we're too good at it.
And also we're really good singers. Like our music is quite good. So but like don't pimp us into singing because
we can only sing Beatles songs, which there's no rights to. So
there.
But we can only sing like at least 30 seconds of it. Like we can't sing just a little bit.
Yeah.
Do you really do impersonations of people we know, or are you just
my Uncle Bernie?
Okay, that's it. All right, Katie.
The two of us are so garbage as far as like I remember auditioning for SNL and then being like, well, don't you do any impressions? And I was like, I think I literally said like, I could do a dead on impression of my improv teacher. And they were like, no, like you're bad. You're bad at this. You're not good.
Now, you mentioned SNL. Let me just fill that in. Katie was a writer for SNL for 6 years.
Oh yeah, I was. I should have said that. What a bitch.
No, I'm just filling some things in. John was and has a lot of other things going too. He was on the NBC series Superstore for the entire run, right?
Yes.
Okay, and
last great sitcom.
What's that?
The last great sitcom. I believe that though. I really do.
Okay, that's fine. Let me play this other clip that we've pulled, and we'll get more into Chicago Party Ant as far as what this all is.
Do it,
Alan. What do you got for us here?
You're clearly not a senior citizen.
I know, but it doesn't help that I'm always hanging around a smooth-skinned angel like you. Make me look like damn Judi Dench.
Dame Judi Dench is a queen, and so are you. You're basically in your prime, and you're single now.
You're right. I am single. Oh, you know what would cheer me up? Some good old-fashioned BD.
I already regret asking this, but what is BD?
Bar dick. It's like bar coke. Low quality, you're not sure what you're putting up there, but it gets the job done. Good advice, sweetie.
That was your own advice.
Here, take this sack of ribs for lunch and dinner, because I ain't coming home tonight.
I'll go change.
Was that the episode that they went to the Halloween party at the bar? The queer Halloween party?
No.
But there's adult themes, salty language. That's what it's all about, and that is a taste right there.
You write what you know, Gary. You write what you know.
Is that from your pen, John? Bar Dick? I've never heard that before.
That's a Katie Rich original. That was episode 3, and that's I think the first. I think we're so happy with all the episodes. I think 3 is the first one that really encapsulates this journey of Diane. Right? It's the first time she's really put to the question, and it's a great episode for the show, I think, and it's her kind of spinning out about being seen as this older woman who one thing my mother-in-law said to me.
Oh, I love this.
Right around the time we were taking the show out to pitch was my mother-in-law is great. She fantastic person. She dyes her hair. I had to say that she's listening. She dyes her hair red. I asked her once, I was like, oh, are you just like, do you like red? And she was like, no, it makes me stand out because she said, like, you know, I reach a certain age and I realize that, like, I kind of become invisible to people. And when I dye my hair red, people at least come up to me and they say, oh, I like your hair. And she feels seen, like recognized, and still like a member of society. And this idea, I think, really like played into the heart of Diane, of this person who had her peak and prime maybe when she was like late 80s, early 90s. And here she is, you know, 30 years past that. And episode 3 is the first one that deals with this issue of, is she becoming irrelevant in this society? And yeah, that was like the first episode that really tackled that issue. And that's one of my favorite episodes of the series.
And you both do voices on the series, right?
Yes. Yes.
You're not Aunt Diane, are you, Katie?
No. But
okay.
John does his Uncle Bernie, and I do that improv person in my no.
Okay, the one you sold the SNL people
That's
on.
all we know how to do.
Yeah, I can do my improv teacher. Who the fuck is that? What? And you got hired anyway.
You know, that's how good I am.
They must have thought, well, this woman is whack. We like this, because who would say that?
We're both voices. Katie has a legitimate range. Like she really does. She plays Zuzana, who's like our Polish character. One of many Polish characters, but from Poland. She plays Luann, who's the bartender at Guthrie's, and many other characters. I play Mikey, who's Diane's son.
Noticed there is a noticeable, what people call a Chicago accent.
Yes.
And that's deliberate, I'm assuming. And in the series, Aunt Diane is from the South Side, even though she's living in a building that borders Wrigley Field. And being from the South Side of Chicago, I don't think I ever talk like that. And I know that has been enhanced over the years by different acts that like to say that's how we all talk in Chicago.
You didn't talk like that because you were like, I think you had to have a different kind of voice because of what you did. You have like a very good radio. You have a nice voice. You talk like a human I want to listen to, as opposed to a bird monster who should be drowned in a lake, like how I talk. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
that's a nice imagery there. Okay, but you obviously are going for that. And do you get any feedback from people going, we don't talk like that in Chicago? Why are you perpetuating that stereotype?
No.
No.
haven't
If
seen
anything,
that.
people were like, because people in Chicago are such jerks, and I can say that, because they're like, you got to do it. You have to do the accent, and then you do the accent, and they're like, that's not the accent. You know, like everyone was like, that's not how we talk. You know, like.
Okay. All right. I know that the super fans really kind of started that on SNL, right, Katie? I mean, that's where it really ignited.
Yeah, I mean, that's George Wendt, right? I mean, that's kind of how George Wendt talks. I'll be honest with you. I never realized, I didn't think I had an accent. I didn't think my accent was bad. And then until I went to college, because I was always here. And then I went to college and they were like, what are you? They were like, where are you from?
I'd like to drown you, you birdie, whatever you called yourself. I'd like to drown you. You're a bird.
I'd like to drown you in the lake, you bird monster.
Yeah, something like that. Now, Katie, what's that?
I remember going to London, just brag, when I was in college, and I remember getting there, and I remember people, and this is like a while ago, and I remember like the British people being like, you talk like the super fans. You talk exactly like them. Like, I can't believe that's a real thing. And so if you can believe it, like, this is my accent dissipated. Like, I've had to work on it.
And you are from the south suburbs of Chicago, and John is from the north side. So you have that mix. And if you're familiar with Chicago, it's a weird, your side, our side, White Sox, Cubs, the Chicago River divides, and it's all weird. It's red state, blue state within the city, not politically necessarily, but just the mentality.
See, Dan is saying most Chicagoans don't hear it.
That's what I'm saying, and I'm surprised. Agree. Yeah.
And so
I agree too. I didn't even. I remember college wasn't there. I went to college in New York, so I remember some people saying some things. But like I don't really have anything. It was when I was out here. I was newly out in Los Angeles. I auditioned for a role of an FBI agent, and I remember doing the read. It was like 3 lines, like not that much. And I remember doing the read, and the casting director was like, "Great, hey, do it again, but no Chicago accent." I was like, "Oh, I wasn't
doing it." Okay, yeah.
I didn't get the part.
Yeah, over by there. Over by there.
We got to go check for fingerprints over by there.
Over by there. Okay.
This guy looks dead as shit.
Yeah, that guy.
Effing dead.
Who's the jagoff that killed this guy?
Yeah, what the hell is that? There's a guy on Chicago Fire that has been, I guess, designated to push that accent. And what's that guy's name? He was on.
Schulte?
No, the guy that was on Sex and the City.
Yes, he.
Yeah, he talks like this all the time. So they obviously said, okay, you be the guy that does. And he's from Chicago. He's from the northwest suburbs.
His accent isn't. It's to me sounds like New York.
Yeah, that's. I mean, well, I think they're trying to get him into that frame. I guess I don't know. Let me ask you both this: if you had to pick, you could only pick one of these as far as a career: game show host, sitcom star, or a voice in an animated series. Which one of those would be your dream job?
Well, John has already done 2 out of 3.
I mean, as far as you couldn't do anything else, and you thought, if I have a gun to my head, I got to pick one. That's it. I can't do anything else. Which one of those would you want to be in your career?
I think it's so tough.
I think I would want to be like a voice of a hit animated show.
Yeah, I think the work, as far as what work you do and expel, and the money you get, it's like winning the lottery, right? Although all those things are game show hosts.
It's all.
Yeah, come on. That's what I'm saying.
It's all great.
It's all good. What I'm saying to the audience is, John and Katie, if you get any of those offered, take them. And
yes. I think the artist inside of me would want to say sitcom star because there's like it feels like there's more to do, but like the realist in me is like, oh, animated voice, because then I can like I can
You can get fat, dude.
I can eat pizza. I can do whatever I want to do, and I can just go into recording with.
Yeah.
Like especially as a woman, you know. But you're like, oh, I can get wrinkles, and I can, you know what I mean? Like I would rather do.
But those are the ones in my little pedestrian life I've picked as that's like winning the lottery to me. When I see these people that get those jobs, I'm sure Drew Carey is thinking, okay, I did that hit sitcom. This Price is Right shit. This is gold, Jerry. Gold.
Well, you know, there's actually a great story about that.
Really?
Drew. I call him Drew. Some people call him Andrew. I call him Drew. Drew was coming off of a show, and he told a story in an interview, and it stuck with me. And he was driving home up the PCH after meeting with a director for a new series, a new pilot that had already.
What's PCH, John? For those of us who
the Pacific Coast Highway.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
He leaves a meeting with a director and like a producing team behind this new series that had already been picked up, and he was essentially meeting with them to be the new star of it. And his agent called him like 15 minutes after the meeting, and he said, "Do you have good news for me?" And his agent said, "No, they're passing on you for the show. They're going to go with someone else. But we got an interesting offer from CBS for you to be the new host of Price is Right." And he was like, "F off, I don't want this," and hung up. And he got home and he told his wife, and he was like, "I'm going from like the star of like one of the biggest shows, and my agent thinks I'd entertain an offer to be a game show host." And his wife said to him, you love giving gifts to people. It's one of your favorite things. And that is like a true thing about him. He gives like huge gifts to his crew and all that stuff. And you love giving things away. This show will be on forever. You will be the host as long as you want. You get to do what you love every single day of the week, and you get to give away things. And he was like, "Oh my God, you're completely right." And he had this like realization. He's like, "That's the best job ever." And he called his agent immediately. He was like,
"Yeah, okay,
that's what I want. I want it."
Which I think truly the best job in all of show business is what Vanna White and Pat Sajak have, because they record everything is shot in like a month.
Yes, that's why there's this cluster for Jeopardy. That's why all these people are piling up to get that job. It's magnificent.
Yeah, right. They wouldn't even give me a call. They wouldn't even give me a call.
Oh well, they're looking for
bullshit.
John, they're looking for a new James Bond. I'd get on the phone right now.
Can I do it?
All right, Katie, go. And when you do the audition, Katie, do your improv teacher. Bond.
Actually, improv teacher was a secret agent. So
there you go. You're the new James Bond. You're the Jamie Bond of the series. All right, Chicago Party Ant. There are 8 episodes right now. I guess another 8 are coming out in January or February.
Yeah, we don't have a date yet. Soon.
Okay, but there it is, and these are the co-creators, and I thank you for your time. Congratulations on all this.
Gary, you're such a Chicago legend. So
it's
be here.
Over by there.
It's cool to be over by there with you.
Over by there, and
over by there with you on the old podcast.
Yeah, and Katie and I were in the same basic high school district.
Isn't that weird?
Yes, and show business was our calling, and I'm still trying to get there. You did. Okay. I'm looking for that game show. All right, thank you all. Congratulations.
Thank you, bud.
Chicago Party Ant on Netflix. All right, Leslie, we've got a lot to do yet here, and why don't we take care of the sponsors, the fine sponsors?
That's a good idea.
And then we'll have some of your stuff, and then Ryan is going to come on, and I have to say something about something that I'll tell you about in a minute. First of all,
we get this all figured out.
Yeah, it's on the Soul Train scramble board right now, but it'll make sense by the end. I'll tie it all together. Let's pay homage to Bettenhausen Automotive.
Go on a power trip during Ram Power Days. Going on now at Bettenhausen Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Fiat, and certified pre-owned megastore in Tinley Park and Orland Park. Right now, get 0% for 72 months, plus $3,000 total cash on a new 2021 Ram 1500. Your best truck buying experience starts now at BettenhausenCDJR.com.
All right. And if you're looking for a mortgage or a refi, you know who to call. Team Hochberg, David Hochberg and his group. These are the guys that are going to save you money. And you're going to go to the bank. Some people go to the bank. Hey, can I get a loan? And the banker's sitting there. No. Why are you wasting your time? Call David and his team. They'll give you the free consultation. Then hopefully you'll get some business going and save money. And isn't that what life is all about? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. There are the numbers. Love David. I love David Hochberg. Love him. All right. The premium members, thank you for signing up for those extra shows. Also appreciated. And why don't you want to bring Ryan on first? And
we could do that.
Yeah, but sure. I referred to something here. And I talked about it a little bit on the show this week.
Hello.
I posted something. And I said to Leslie during the show after I posted it, a listener goes, "Oh, is this what you do? You post something and then you come back all day and post more comments?" And I'm thinking,
right. He was angry that you're commenting on
my post. And I'm thinking, right. I thought that's what this was for. And I guess what I'm saying is I was scarred many years ago. And this is why I do this, because I like doing it. It's very zen to me. I like coming up with these captions. But the first time I met Pee Wee Herman, it was weird because, he was Paul Rubens. I get it. But right. So I meet the guy, and I've got the Pee Wee Herman fan club card. And I'm really into Pee Wee Herman. And I meet him, and we're talking, and I'm telling him how much I enjoy the show, and I'm showing him my Pee Wee Herman fan club card. And he looked at me like I was fucking crazy. And I thought, well, if you're not into it, then why am I into it?
Right.
See, and that's why I get into this. Otherwise, if I'm not into this, why should the viewer be into it?
Well, and with that, the people who are complaining have already read the post, gone into the comments, so you're in it already, and you're getting extra content quality. Why are you bitching about it?
And it's
just
not as
enjoy
if,
it.
Right.
Otherwise, move on.
It's not as if there's a comment quota, and if you go past it, nobody else can comment. It's unlimited. I'm not taking up anybody's space. This happened too on a Leave It to Beaver post that I did. I was doing those maybe once a week, every other week. And somebody went, "Wow, take a break, man." And I'm thinking, that's what this is for. Why are we doing that? This is what, it's not negative. It's not, I'm not stirring up any trouble. I like doing it and having fun with it.
It's like, well, I ride a bike on the street. Why are you taking it off road and on? That's not how you ride a fucking bike. And
I
it's
know.
like, no, this is the way you have now taken this to a new level. And
right.
People okay, and now that I'm talking, I realize, God damn it, we people from Chicago do have a nasal quality.
What did you do?
I'm hearing it in my own head after hearing Lauren Ash's, Chicago party, and she's the voice of Diane. Listening to Katie, and all of a sudden I'm hearing it in my own head.
Yeah, he's fucking
We're
dead.
the equivalent of like Mongolian throat singing, except it's coming through our noses. God.
Let's get a deep dish pizza over by there. Over
And
by
I
there.
came from the north side. We didn't singing, we didn't go dancing or any of
Over
that.
by there. Also on the show this week, I talked about this guy in Wisconsin who will go and pick up your walnuts in your backyard for free, and then he takes them and sells them.
Right.
I get on the phone with Ryan. We're talking about something else, and I said, this guy in Wisconsin's doing this. Maybe you can hunt him down. And he goes, okay, this is a vortex. Our son Hank just asked for a walnut picker-upper.
A weasel nut gatherer.
A weasel nut gatherer.
Yeah.
And, Ron Popeil, this is for you, brother.
Okay. He came home and said, Dad, can we go to the hardware store today? I want one of those nut gatherers. And I thought, what are you talking about? And he was there before and saw it. So, of course, him being the only child, sure, we'll go buy a $40 nut gatherer. Sure.
$40 for this weasel nut gatherer. What prompted him to want this?
He's that kid that sees some of that stuff, like those gadgets and something, and he thought he could use it out to help the neighbor. And it'd be fun in the house to run around, pick up my toys with. And so he's that kid that sees that stuff and remembers it and then pulls it up, months later.
Do you have a walnut tree?
Yeah, we do. We do.
Okay.
That covers both kind of our neighbors and our yard. So there is an application for it. It's just not sure this was the timing for it, but.
All right, let's see the picture of it.
I have a
because it
picture
looks
of
like, and we'll show the picture, and it looks like if you've ever seen a bingo game, look at it. The bottom of it looks like one of those bingo things you turn to get the numbers.
There he is with it, proudly showing it, and then over here is the promo one, so you can see it a little more. It looks like the bingo gatherer. So there's multiple sizes. This is the large one. Of course, we couldn't get the small one. We had to get the large one, and they have a smaller one and then a really small one.
He's gonna hit high school and he's gonna be like, yeah, you know what? And I'm a magnet fisherman, I'm a walnut picker-upper. And
right. He's got all these
you
things.
Are lucky to have.
Right.
And then he goes to, and Gary talked about this, we go to the, I'm going to call it the Great Kindergarten Pumpkin Roll. A family invited us, all the kindergarten kids over there, and I have a picture of the hill that they rolled the pumpkins down, which is like, it's a big hill.
This is a private residence's backyard.
Correct.
You are the Rockefellers.
And then
actually, okay, I got to upgrade. I sound like I'm on a cruise ship as a comedian. You are the Bezoses.
Well, and then we pull in, and I said to Jamie, "What's that by the garage there?" Because you could see this like light, and she said, "This must be a workout area." I said, "No, it's an indoor basketball court with Michael Jordan on the." Decal on the court. So,
this is the kid's house that you went to a party at.
50 kindergarten kids running around for 3 hours. So,
oh God,
that backyard. How many acres is that? Was Hank out there with his weasel picking up walnuts?
No, there it is. No, that was before the weasel. So, but the guy said it takes him 2 hours just to mow the backyard. So it's a big.
He doesn't mow his own backyard, I'm assuming.
He does. He said he does, and his yard goes another 200 yards into that woods. So it's a big backyard.
Look at those people down. They look like they're about 4 miles away. They're so small.
So the kids had a lot of trouble carrying the pumpkins up there. So,
Garry, did you go on field trips when you were in kindergarten?
Not kindergarten, no.
I'm thinking in kindergarten, they were still trying to teach kids like not to eat paste and like how not to go potty in your pants. And look at
now they're going on pumpkin
rolls.
They
going to go from here
on 50-acre estates with a regulation gym.
So I almost fell off the chair when Gary said about the walnuts. I'm going, wow. Where's Hank's mind at? It's all kind of comes together.
Now, Donna's comment there. Yes. Doesn't have a guy to do that with. Apparently, they have a lot of money. But I got to tell you, and I think this is what the guy's going for. As I've said, that stuff is very zen when you do it. I find all of that to be a way to get away from everything else. That's why we do cocktails on Friday. But outside of that, the weed whacking and everything, there's something very zen about that. Same thing with the captions that I do. And I said to that guy, I responded, I said, you should do more captions. It's very zen. Because I just sit there and I like doing it. Is there something wrong with that?
And that was
It's like you're sitting in a writers' meeting and you're all the writers. How many? 9 on Chicago Party Net? So
how about
it's
that?
Garry throwing it to Garry, throwing it to
Garry, throwing it to you. So, okay, we're going to do your report, and then Leslie's going to do some stories here. All right, let's go to the Wisconsin report. Alan.
You got to give me a moment here to grab it.
We're also going to talk, get this, producer Keith has never seen a James Bond movie. And then Ryan chimed in before the show. I haven't seen one either.
No.
Not that that's bad. It's just interesting to me. Out of 25 movies, they've never seen a one of them. And I guess it's the same where I've never seen a Harry Potter movie.
Here we go.
Okay, here we go.
It's Wisconsin, yeah, hey.
Hey everyone, it's Ryan, and this is this week's Wisconsin Update. You know, in Wisconsin, we like our cheese and we like our firearms. Sometimes we like them together, sometimes we don't. Well, I have a story about 3 men in the local Waukesha area who went into a firearms store to try to buy another weapon. Well, the problem was they were drunk and they came in with a loaded weapon. You know, we've talked many times on this little sign outside the door is the gun with the cross. Do not bring a loaded weapon into a firearms store. Well, they did, and the clerk refused to sell them any weapons and had them move along after they unloaded their weapon. Well, instead of going to the bar or maybe go home to sleep it off, no, they got in the car, drove drunk to another firearms store in the city of Brookfield. Well, the police log says they parked way out in the parking lot. I'm not sure if that's because they wanted to be inconspicuous when they were coming or they were driving drunk, which was kind of a weird thing to say they parked way out. But needless to say, they did not get a weapon at that store either, and they were sent on their way. The police never did catch up with them, so we need to be on the lookout for 3 men who were drunk trying to buy weapons. Staying in Waukesha, Les Paul, many of you know him from inventing the first solid body electric guitar with Gibson, and known as the Wizard of Waukesha. Well, one of his guitars were up for sale recently, and they expected to get maybe $100,000, $150,000. Well, it ended up being almost $1 million. It sold for $930,000. Well, Les Paul, if you don't know, is buried here in Waukesha in the Prairie Home Cemetery. Here's a picture of his grave. I believe he's buried there with his mother alongside of him. So if you're ever in Waukesha and want to go find Les Paul's grave, it's at the Prairie Home Cemetery. Have a good weekend, and I'll talk to you soon.
Very good, Ryan. And yeah, Les Paul is a god to guitar players, rock and roll guitar players everywhere. And okay, let's bring Keith on and talk about this. The James Bond franchise, it just didn't warm with you. Give me there's no reason needed. There's no wrong answer here. It's just, I'm just kind of curious as to why you never saw one James Bond movie.
Well, I was born in the 80s, and I would say that like at that point, the James Bond, franchise was, at least when I was growing up, like they were just like cheesy movies with bad special effects. And so, now it's very different. But, because like that's how I viewed it when I was younger. I didn't watch any when I was younger. So then even as I got older, I just wasn't interested. It just wasn't my thing.
Okay. And Ryan?
I'm a little older than Keith, and I think we were more on the, the Goonies and those kind of movies, or the Batman or that stuff. So we never, at least my family and friends, we never kind of veered toward the Bond movies.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. I mean, it's no big deal. It's just interesting to me.
Yeah.
Out of
I've seen clips of it and pieces of it, but not a full movie. No.
You've not gone to a theater and watched.
And at this point, I think I should just keep up the Cal Ripken-like streak. That's how.
Yeah, don't break it.
Yeah,
don't break it. All right, thank you. And Leslie, what do you have?
I got some celebrity news. Turns out not everybody was impressed with William Shatner's adventure into space this week, most notably former co-worker George Takei. The man known for playing Lieutenant Sulu to Shatner's Captain Kirk took to social media to mock his former castmate's recent trip aboard the Blue Origin spacecraft. In an interview with the New York Post, Takei called Shatner an unfit specimen who was boldly going where other people have gone before. It's just the latest salvo in a decades-long beef between the two, each accusing the other of pushing the feud narrative for publicity.
Whoa, ow, that's weird.
And you know what I was thinking about as I was writing up this story was our guest from last week. And I think we should maybe send each of these gentlemen a copy of Move On, Motherfucker, because, I mean, we're talking about a 40-year-old feud at this point.
Or 50. The
50.
Star Trek series was in the 60s. Yeah. Yeah,
So
really.
Just be done. Singer Demi Lovato is making news this week for getting prickly over how we referred to beings from outer space. Lovato says that referring to extraterrestrials as aliens is derogatory. The singer made this pronouncement while promoting a new documentary, a show called Unidentified. In it, Lovato, Sister Dallas, and a friend named Matthew travel cross country to investigate UFO sightings. The singer implies that from now on, we should stop using the term alien completely because, quote, aliens is a derogatory term for anything.
Okay, here we go. How about bubbleheads? Long-fingered bubbleheads.
Well, and at that point, if they've got a problem with it and they're so advanced, I mean, they're just going to zap us into oblivion
listen,
anyway.
right. If they are coming, it's over. So it doesn't matter what we call them. You won't get it out before your clothes are flying up in the air and you're dust.
Wasn't it Stephen Hawking who said, we don't want them to come?
No,
Or maybe
I agree with Stephen.
Please don't come.
Don't poke it.
Let's see. Hooters is changing up their uniforms and they're skimpier than ever. One Hooters waitress is racking up millions of views on a video she posted on TikTok. In it, she shows off the new shorter shorts that she says are like underwear. Another waitress, speaking anonymously, explains that girls with more meat on their bones, quote, it's kind of just riding right up, you have a wedgie all the time. But you won't be seeing these shorts at all the Hooters locations just yet. Turns out they're just going a soft rollout in Texas, and then they'll see how it flies, and possibly you'll see them from there.
And then that soft rollout is going to be a hard rollout. But
for some people.
Yes.
And with that, I still have to wonder. I haven't been in a Hooters for like a decade. Do they still have to wear pantyhose
Under their shorts? I don't know. I haven't been in one either. I didn't know they were still operating, so...
and it turns out, they're operating under two parent companies. It gets really complicated.
Jesus. Okay.
And finally, speaking of Texas, a woman from Texas has been sentenced to 51 months in prison after using bogus checks to purchase approximately $50,000 worth of postage stamps. This 41-year-old named Shannon Gray admitted to buying the stamps at various post offices across Pennsylvania, Kentucky, and West Virginia in September of 2019. No word on why she figured stamps would be a good item to traffic in, but now she'll have plenty of time to think about a new way of making money because she's going to need plenty of it. They've said that she needs to pay $48,000 in restitution.
Okay. Can we just tase her and get it over with? And
stamps. I know. I'm going to traffic in
stamps. Yes. Okay. Hey, Keith, did you want to mention something? Did you tell me you needed to or wanted to promote something? Am I missing something?
I've got a new podcast to promote.
Okay, what is that?
I forget if we even talked about it or not. I've created a new podcast called Bringing Up the Lights, which is a behind-the-scenes look at like theater production. And the first season is with the Lyric Opera of Chicago, following their production of Macbeth, which actually just closed a couple days ago, from like conception all the way to opening night. And I'm about halfway through releasing the episodes now.
Okay. And where do people find this?
Bringingupthelights.com.
He makes Titanic replicas. He does shows about lighting. He's a well-rounded man. He's a rock on tour.
Certainly.
All right, it's time to give away something. Are you ready, Alan, to roll the computer? The condom and the GarrForce scarf.
All right, let me bring it up here on the screen. Let's see. We need the StreamYard giveaway tool.
Yes.
And I'll give people one more opportunity before I hit the draw button. Go ahead and get that comment in there for hashtag Chicago Party Ant. We'll give them a few seconds because they're behind on the stream versus where we are in real life.
All right.
Ready? Let's go ahead and hit that draw button. And here's Garry with the sound effects.
All
Ready?
right.
Let's go. And there's our winner. Congratulations,
Juan
Juan.
Sandoval. Congratulations, you're getting the condom and the GarrForce scarf. And how does Juan get that?
Juan, you can either message the show on Facebook, or we'll send you a message from Gary's account later, and I'll pass that on to Leslie so she can get it to you in the mail.
All right. That is it for tonight. Thank you for listening. Next week, as I mentioned, Dieter Sturm will be the guest on the Cocktail Show to talk about Oktoberfest and beers and brats and things. And take that cannoli that's coming down the aisle. It's complimentary. There it is. What about the Schnauzer?
You know what? Dip it in a White Claw. I like Chicago partying.
Yes. How do you like your Schnauzer dipped? Yes, there it is. It's wet.
Don't ever order it dry. Always order it dipped.
Boom. And let me just say, there's mine. Oh, you saw the Schnauzer riding the whale there too. Yeah, there it is.
There you go.
That's nice. All right. Thanks for listening. Have a great weekend. Back on Monday. It's 3 in the green. Gear down. Flaps are down. The voice of the globe, the GarrForce, is landed.
If you like that, I got other stuff I think you're going to like. This is the GarrForce